is, of course, a continuation of what we're discussing last time. Okay, so for if you're going to take a look at your Canvas courses, so the course units that are actually there is all about, of course, hardware. But of course, sabi ko nga, lahat nung sa synchronous session natin, so in one way or another, it is in line or on your course units, and your course unit should be independently studied, and the questions or the multiple choice questions should be answered later when I opened it. Okay, so again, your course unit should be learned independently. But of course, for our synchronous sessions, I'm going to give you some of the real-world applications. Okay, so let us take a look now. No, so let us take a look now. Jazen, are you there? Jazen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jazen, can you please remind me of what we have discussed last time?
Sa telehealth din, sir.
Telehealth, we somewhat top telehealth. What else? So we mentioned something about EHR, and EHR refers to electronic health.
Health record.
Okay, so very good. So we talk about electronic health records, which is one of the best manifestations or one of the best examples for nursing informatics. We also discussed of course, the definition of informatics and what are some of the concepts that are included in the word informatics. So, but of course, for this afternoon, I'm going to introduce you some of the technologies that we're using in nursing, as well as the concept of the fourth industrial revolution. And as we go along, we're going to take a look at some of the problems on why nursing informatics is not that fully implemented here in the Philippines. But of course, when we started our session this afternoon, I showed you one of my favorite videos for Apple, and that is entitled Homework. Okay, so this is to remind everyone that each and every week, okay, you have your course requirements. So I'm posting you reminders every now and then. And I'm very happy because 90% of the students are complying with the deadline, especially on their course task. Okay. So for those who submitted late in the terms of their course task, okay lang, sige, I'll still accept it. But of course, for the purpose of fairness, we're going to give sabi natin, highest scores to those students who will submit their course task on time. Would that be okay? Yes. Would that be okay? Hello?
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Nag-uusap ba ako?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yes po.
Hello? Ba't
Yes
parang
po,
ano
sir.
ngayon? Ba't parang ano? Parang hindi responsive ngayon. Kumusta kayo? Na-overwhelm ba kayo sa
Hindi,
ibang mga
sir.
subject?
Delay lang, sir. Sorry po.
Okay, na-delay lang. Okay, hindi naman sabaw? Hindi naman sabaw.
Hindi
Hindi na
po.
po namin
Di naman
kaya.
po.
Lunod na, sir.
Oh, sir.
Lunod na kayo. Okay. So, you know what? Sa informatics, pa-isa-isa lang yung binibigay ko sa inyong course task. Hindi naman ganun ka ano. Okay, hindi naman ganun of course, ka-comprehensive such a way that we're going to introduce to you each of the concepts gradually. Okay, so I know most of you are taking nursing research, right? May nursing research ba kayo?
Yes, sir.
Yes
po.
po.
Yan, okay. And I'm going to give you an idea later because for your nursing informatics class, especially for your proposal, you can integrate what you call nursing informatics. Okay, so thank you very much for complying with all the requirements. But of course, just to remind some of the students who are not yet submitting their course task, so that is included at the module. But if you want a shortcut for that, okay, so you can check it on the assignment. Okay, the quizzes that will be opened after this discussion has something to do with your independent study as far as the course units are concerned. Okay, and the items in your examination, okay, your prelim and midterm examination will be obtained from all the synchronous sessions that we're having. Kaya kailangan makinig, especially for synchronous sessions. And again, just to remind you students, so your course task is 50%. Okay, so I'm very easy to please, guys, especially when I saw that you're exerting effort in terms of your course task, and that is 50% of your grades. Okay, so do you have questions with regards to the grading system? Wala naman tayong questions, right?
Wala
Okay, so
po.
wala. Okay, so one of the most important definitions that we discussed last time is the concept of what you call health informatics, right? So sabi natin, ang nursing informatics, wala yan before, but the use of technology in the field of healthcare started in a generic sense. So generic po na siya. So we called it the health informatics, which is a combination of different concepts, namely the computer science, which refers to hardware, your course unit for this week. Information science talks about the software that we are using. For example, you have your Microsoft Words, Office Suites, you have the applications that you're downloading. These are considered under information science. And also we have health science. It refers to studies or research that supports the nursing practice. Cognitive science, that's human intelligence, and of course, wisdom, the ethicality of practicing informatics. So last time, I also introduced to you the definition of informatics by the American Nurses Association. And when you say nursing informatics, it's a specialty that integrates a lot of concepts to manage and communicate data, information, and knowledge in the nursing practice. So for this concept, we can say na yung health informatics dati, which is very broad in a sense, naging specific na siya. Okay? Doon sa tinatawag nating nursing profession. And of course, formally, we call it nursing informatics. Okay. So let's talk about the definition kasi important to nung na-discuss natin last time. Okay, we have here Queenie. Queenie, are you there?
Yes po,
Queen.
sir.
Okay, are you listening?
Yes po.
Okay, sige, Queenie. Queenie, last time sabi ko, I have my own definition of informatics and we identified the concepts that are included in the discussion of informatics. Can you please tell me the first four letters?
Yung I po, information.
INFO. So
Opo,
INFO,
INFO.
yes, the first four letters talks about information. Kaya siya tinawag na informatics because it has something to do with information. And in nursing practice, we are working with a lot of information. So for example, can you give me an example of information that we're getting from our patients?
Ano po, yung history po nila.
Very
Patient's
good.
history po.
Patient's history. What else? When the patient is confined in the area, every 4 hours we are taking their.
Vital sign po.
Very good. Are vital signs information?
Yes po, sir.
Yes. Okay. So can you give me examples of vital signs?
Ano po, temperature,
Okay.
blood pressure, saka
Okay.
yung ano po, wait lang. Temperature, blood pressure, saka,
Rates. The rates.
yung rates po.
Rates. Anong rate yon? Dito. Dito. Ano yon?
Ano
Ano
po,
yung nandito?
pulse rate,
Pulse rate. What else? Meron pang rate dito.
heart rate po.
Very good. What else? Meron pang rate dito. Ito yung
Yung
problema ng mga clients na may COVID. In terms of breathing, what's that? What rate is that in terms of breathing?
Respiratory.
Okay.
respiratory.
Yeah, very good. So, very good. That is respiratory rate, right? Okay. So, very good, no, Queenie? So, may I call on Nayem Wahab? Nayem Wahab? Okay. Nayem Wahab? Nayem, are you there?
Opo,
Nayem.
sir.
Okay. Nayem? Are you there? Hello? Okay. How about si Christian? Christian Carlo Lim. Christian?
Good afternoon po, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay. So, what device are you using to obtain the temperature of your client?
Thermometer po.
Thermometer. Are you using digital thermometer?
No po.
You are using what?
Yung mano-mano po, sir.
Mano-mano. Ano yung mano-mano thermometer? Using
Ano na?
which?
Yung
You're using mercurial? Are you using mercurial? No.
Ano tawag? Hindi po, sir.
Okay, digital thermometer. Baka digital thermometer. Tama? You're using digital thermometer?
Hindi po ako sure kung digital yun, sir.
Okay, so meron ba siyang mercury sa loob? Wala. Kung wala siyang mercury and it will give you, of course, a number after several minutes or seconds. So that's a digital
Sir.
thermometer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that's a digital thermometer. So hindi na tayo gumagamit ng mercurial. We are not using mercurial because this is toxic in some sort. Kasi for example, if nalaglag or something, so that will of course give some toxic substances na kapag na-attach sa skin natin. So toxic siya. Okay. So yon. So dito tayo gumagamit ng mercurial ngayon. How about for checking the blood pressure? Checking the blood
Yung
pressure. What are you
BP,
using?
BP cup po.
BP apparatus. What
Yes,
do we
sir.
call that? It starts with letter S.
Yes.
Ispig. Ispig. What do
No
we call
idea.
that? No idea. Hindi pa pa duty. Sige. Check natin si Gressel. Gressel Cabarles. Gressel, kumusta? Gressel? Gressel?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. What device are you using to check the blood pressure of your client?
Ano, stigmatography ba yun, sir?
Okay, that is Pigmo.
Manometer.
Very good. So that is a sphygmomanometer. Okay. Question. Okay, so let me call on Kyle. Kyle Rose. Kyle Rose, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Kyle Rose. Okay, so before you assess the vital signs of the client, ano yung ginagawa mo muna with your devices?
With my devices po, nililinis ko po gamit ng
Lilinis mo?
cotton.
Very good. So are you checking if this is working properly?
Yes po.
Yes, because letter R in informatics refers to what?
Reliable.
Very good. So you need to ensure as nurses that the data that you are getting should be reliable. Okay. Next, MA refers to management because as nurses, we need to manage the data of the client. So most of the time, we are charting the data of the client on the patient's chart. So that's some sort of a management. Letter T refers to technology because the earliest attempts of defining informatics with the use of technology. I refers to intelligence. C refers to communication, and letter S refers to standards. So for example, in the nursing profession, do we have a language? Do we have a language? So let's call on Aiden. Aiden. Aiden? Aiden?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the language that nurses are using?
Sir, yan po ba yung mga medical abbreviations?
Yes. So what language? So this is Nanda. What is Nanda? What
Sir,
is
I
Nanda?
forgot.
You
Sir,
forgot. So North American Nursing Diagnosis, 'di ba? So Nanda. Okay, are you done guys with fundamentals of nursing? Tapos na kayo fundamentals, no?
Yes, sir. Yes po,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so kapag sinabi nating standards, we're talking about nomenclatures. And when we talk about nomenclatures, we are talking about language ng mga nurses. So for example, ang mga engineering people, meron silang sariling lengguwahe. Right? So for example, ang mga educators, ang mga teachers, meron silang sariling language. Ang mga architect, they have their own language. Ang mga computer enthusiasts, for example, yung mga computer science students, they have their own language. So sa nursing, meron tayong mga languages na ginagamit at marami yon. Pero here in the Philippines, we are utilizing what you call the NANDA diagnosis. Di ba? So for example, let's call on James Edward. James Edward, are you there? James
Yes, sir.
Edward? Okay,
Yes po,
James
sir.
Edward. Okay. So for example, mataas ang aking BP, anong tawag doon? Sa medicine, anong tawag doon? Hypertensive. Ang client, tama po ba?
Apo.
Hypertensive? Hypertension, right? So hypertension. So for example, ang hypertension sa nursing, ang tawag natin dyan ay altered cardiac output increase. Okay. So for example, another thing, kung for example, I cut myself. Na-cut ko yung finger ko, for example. Anong tawag natin doon sa medicine? Sa medicine, ang tawag natin doon ay laceration or wound. Diba? So sa nursing, ang tawag natin dyan ay, based on our language ay,
Alters
ano?
integrity. Charot.
Very good. Sino yon? Sino yung sumagot na yon?
Ako po, sir.
Sino to? Sino to? Si Alvin. Okay, Alvin.
Alvin
So,
po, sir.
sige nga, Alvin. So, ang tawag natin doon ay altered, what?
Altered skin integrity po.
Altered skin integrity. Okay, how about Alvin, for example? Okay, meron kang, ikaw yung doktor. May
Melvin
binigay
po, sir.
Melvin, sorry.
Kelvin
So,
po.
Kelvin?
C po. C. Selvin.
Selvin. So, cells, parang cells. Okay.
Selvin.
Okay, Selvin. Okay, tama na ba? Okay. So, Selvin, for example, no, ikaw yung nurse. Tapos, meron akong treatment na hindi maintindihan. Anong tawag natin doon?
Ano po, sir?
If I have a treatment in the hospital that I don't understand as the mechanism of that treatment, what do we call that in nursing? Okay, ang tawag ba natin doon ay mangmang? Mangmang ba ang tawag natin? Sa ano no, sa layman's term ang tawag natin doon ay, for example, hindi ko alam, 'di ba? Pero sa nursing anong tawag natin doon?
Hindi ko alam, sir eh.
Healthcare information deficit.
Ala ko po ano, sir. Ano pala? Diagnosis pala sinasabi niya, sir.
Yes, diagnosis because that is our nursing language. 'Di ba?
Kala
Yun yung
ko, sir,
language ng nursing. Okay, so isa pa, last one na lang. So for example, nilalagnat ako, anong tawag doon?
Altered body temperature po.
Ano yun? Increase, decrease?
Nilalagnat po, sir. Increase po.
Okay, altered body temperature increase. Very good. So, iyan yung tinatawag nating mga nursing standards o yung nomenclature na ginagamit natin sa nursing. Don't forget that because hanggang 4th year, ma-encounter nyo ang nursing diagnosis. And for this reason, we are applying what you call the NANDA diagnosis. Okay, so last time we also discussed my own definition of informatics, and it deals with the management and communication of reliable information using technology and intelligence in compliance to standards. Okay, so last meeting, we also gradually introduced to you the importance of what we call EHR. Okay, so may I call on Leila Camille Desagun.
Sir.
What is EHR?
Electronic health records po.
Okay, electronic health records. Okay, so is it true that there are electronic health records that are free? Meron bang mga free na electronic health records? Is there a free
Yes.
electronic health record that hospitals can download so that they can use it in their hospitals? Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there are actually electronic health records that hospitals can adapt and use. But the question is, why are some of the hospitals in the Philippines not utilizing electronic health records? So marami tayong problem. Okay, for that. Pwedeng on the manpower side, because using technology might, of course, be not an instant implementation. The nurses, all the members of the hospital, manpower should be taught on how to use these computers. What else? When you are adopting open electronic health records, or what you call the free softwares that you can use for hospitals, another problem would be devices, because these softwares cannot function without the devices that you are using. So for example, in most of the developed countries, in addition to the desktop computers that they are using, gumagamit din sila ng tinatawag nating, of course, tablets, just like what you are seeing now. Okay, so one of the most prominent worldwide na electronic health records that are free are the Open MRS and, of course, the Open EHR. Open MRS refers to Open Medical Record. Okay, record service. And of course, Open EHR, Open Electronic Health Record. So class, whenever you hear the word open, meaning free. Okay? Sige nga, tingnan nga natin. Kapag sinabi nyong free, nakalagay doon open. Okay, open source software. Okay, so guys, can you see the group chat? Can you see the group chat?
Yes po.
Okay, so ano yung tinype ko sa group chat?
Floss.
Plus.
Okay. So yung category ng software na libre, ang tawag natin doon ay floss. Okay? So lahat ng software na libre, ang tawag natin doon ay floss. For example, ano ba yung mga libreng software? Magbigay nga kayo ng sample ng libreng software. Sige nga, magbigay nga ng sample na libreng software.
Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Very good. Okay, so Google Chrome, you can download it without buying it. Right? So that's a free software. What else? Okay, ang daming free software ngayon. Tama ba?
Microsoft Word.
Microsoft Word, actually may bayad siya. Pero meron tayong mga word processing software na libre. Okay, so for example, you have your Google Sheet, no? So Google Sheets, no? So yung for example, Open Office. So ito yung mga software na masabi nating libre. Okay. So again, ang tawag natin doon sa mga libreng software ay floss. Ano ibig sabihin ng F? Free. Okay, ano ibig sabihin ng L? Libre. Okay, libre. Ano ibig sabihin natin ng O? Open. Ano ibig sabihin natin ng first S? Source. Ano ibig sabihin natin ng next S? Software. Okay? Nakita nyo ba yun, class? Nakita nyo ba yun? Sorry.
Yes po.
Okay, nakita nyo yun, no? Okay, so for those of you na alam ko naka-mobile ngayon at hindi nyo siya nakikita. So yung kapag sinabi nating floss, actually, ewan ko kung makikita nyo siya. Okay, kapag sinabi pag sinabi nating floss, can you see it, guys? Sorry. O sige, next time, ano ko na lang, i-connect ko dyan sa aking desktop para makita nyo kung ano yung sinusulat ko, ha? Sa electronic health records, may mga libre ang tawag natin. Of course, is Open Electronic Health Records. So, for example, you have your Open EHR. Of course, you have your Open MRS. Okay, so ito yung mga libre talaga na pwedeng gamitin ng ating mga hospital. So, turn off ko lang yung ibang devices ko para mas consistent yung internet. Ayan. Okay. So, dito sa Pilipinas, sabi ko nga, meron tayong initiative sa University of the Philippines, Telehealth Center. At ang tawag natin doon ay CHEATS. At huwag niyong kalilimutan yan kasi yan ay lalabas sa inyong exam. Ang Community Health Information Tracking System. So, ang Community Health Information Tracking System or CHEATS, isa yung information system or similar to electronic health records. At iyan ay ginagamit sa ating mga barangay, sa mga barangay health centers natin. Okay, not all barangays has these cheats, but they are expanding the use of community health information tracking system to different areas in the Philippines, especially dun sa mga rural areas. Okay, anong tawag natin doon again, guys? Sa community health information tracking system, cheats. Okay, so ito yung ginagamit natin, of course, in the community. Okay, question. Ang Fatima University Medical Center, gumagamit ba tayo ng mga software sa healthcare? Definitely yes. Okay, so if you're going to take a look at our own Fatima University Medical Center, so gumagamit sila ng several softwares in the hospital. So we tried already yung tinatawag nating WebHIS, okay, Web-Enabled Hospital Information System. And nag-try na rin ng BizBox. Yung BizBox, ginagamit to dun sa mga ancillary services ng hospital. Pero yung electronic health record, wala pa tayo niyan. Okay, no? So, ang ginagamit natin ngayon is of course yung sa paper. Sa paper for the details of the healthcare provider-patient interaction. Pero there are some areas na sa hospital na na-automate na natin or yung tinatawag nating na-apply na natin ng information system. For example, yung BizBox, ginagamit yan. For example, mag-order ng laboratory test Okay, o kaya, for example, mag-order ng gamot sa pharmacy. So, pwede yung i-encode na lang ng mga nurses doon sa, tawag dito, nurses station. Okay. At hindi na sila pupunta doon sa pharmacy o sa radiology, etc. Kasi, guys, ang pag-implement ng electronic health records ay may iba't ibang stages. And we are very pleased na sa Fatima kahit papaano nag-level up na tayo at nahando na tayo dun sa stage 1 to stage 2 implementation. Okay? So for example, when I visited Singapore, karamihan ng mga hospital doon ay nasa stage 4 and stage 5 na. Okay, stage 4 and stage 5. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, so our Fatima University Medical Center, we are utilizing na nandun na tayo sa stage 1 and stage 2. And hopefully, in the near future, mag-elevate na tayo in terms of the applications of technology dun sa ating hospital. Okay. So, ang application ng technology sa hospital o kaya dun sa tinatawag nating clinical setting ay generally termed as what you call the e-health. Okay, e-health applications. So, when we say e-health, it explicitly means electronic health, no? So yung paggamit ng mga technology sa healthcare, generic term natin doon ay e-health applications. So for example, in the practice of nursing, now that we are in this COVID pandemic, gumagamit kayo ng Canvas, that's a form of e-health application sa education. So what we call that the e-learning. Okay, we also utilize the social media. Okay, whether it be we want to inform our clients about the healthy ways to live, etc. So ngayon, dito rin sa ating hospital, we are using telemedicine. So when we say telemedicine, we are using the use of telecommunication devices in healthcare. And that is one of my area of interest pagdating natin sa research. And yung mHealth. Pag sinabi nating mHealth, it refers to mobile health. Kapag gumamit tayo ng mga mobile devices in the delivery of healthcare sa ating client, ang tawag natin doon ay mHealth or mobile health. So, don't think so complex, guys. Kasi for example, gumamit lang tayo ng text para i-inform yung ating client that their next visit is scheduled on Saturday. That is already a form of mHealth o yung tinatawag nating mobile health. Okay? So, yon yung tinatawag nating mHealth or mobile health. Okay, so these are some of the most common. However, marami tayong mga challenges. Marami tayong mga barriers that we can encounter when implementing technology in healthcare. So for example, in terms of frameworks and standards, okay? So marami tayong standard na sinusunod sa nursing and human resources, most especially. So for humans, for example, if you're going to use technology, no, sometimes yung adaptation nila dun sa technologies hindi ganun kabilis. And we also utilizes infrastructure and support. And whenever we're going to invest in technology, in computers, in internet, so syempre kailangan nyo ng budget. Kaya nga, for example, for developing countries such as the Philippines, usually nagkakaroon tayo ng ng mga challenges dyan. Kasi hindi lahat ng hospital sa Pilipinas ay may malaking budget, okay, to buy computers, to buy, of course, a very decent internet connections. Okay? So these are some of the barriers. Okay, so at this point, let us take a look now at one of the biggest problems on technology adoption. At ang tawag natin doon ay interoperability. Okay? So when we say interoperability, in layman's term, hindi compatible. Okay. So when we say interoperability, hindi compatible, or the state we're in, a certain application is not compatible in universal sense. Okay? So again, when we say interoperability, in layman's term, we call that non-compatible. So for example, yung mga application sa Apple, hindi natin pwedeng gamitin sa Windows or sa Microsoft, right? Sa Microsoft, unless merong counterpart na application in that particular sense. Another, yung mga application sa Android might not work, of course, in operating systems such as iOS. So, ang tawag natin doon sa mismatch na yon ay interoperability. And I think one of the easiest means for you to understand interoperability is yung saksakan. Okay. 'Di ba? So sa Pilipinas, nasaan yan yung sa Pilipinas? Nasaan yung saksakan sa Pilipinas? Okay, so for example, you have uh, no, yung nasa baba. Usually sa Pilipinas, ano tayo eh. Ito yung ginagamit natin na ano na saksakan socket, no? For our electronic devices. So dun sa baba, you have what's yung sa Japan na ano na na flag. So ito yung ginagamit natin. But in other countries, for example, in Israel, doon sa bandang taas, yung the blue flag, they are using a different socket. So that's the reason why when you are a traveler, if you're traveling to different countries, you need to purchase some sort of converter for you to use your devices. Kasi for example, if you're going to charge your phone, if you're going to charge your laptop, etc. So kailangan may converter ka kasi hindi pare-parehas ang ang standards natin pagdating natin sa mga electronic devices. And one of the, sabi ko nga, one of the easiest way to understand that is magkakaiba yung saksakan na ginagamit natin. How much more dun sa software, how much more dun sa hardware, etc. So, for example, another thing, in the US, ang mga devices doon ranges, it can work under 110, no? So yung sa mga saksakan nila doon usually 110 yon. But dito sa Pilipinas 110 to 220, di ba? So yun. So kaya sometimes the gadgets that you are buying from the United States may not work here in the Philippines unless gagamit ka ng ng converter, no? So gagamit ka ng converter. Okay. So, yan. So, yan yung some of the applications of technology in what you call clinical practice. Then, sabi nga natin, when we say application of technology in a clinical practice, marami tayong problems na pwedeng ma-encounter. Okay. So, at this point, let us introduce now the concept of the industrial revolutions. Okay, kasi sa informatics, no, sa nursing informatics, ito yung isa sa mga nagde-define, no, nung possible problem na pwede nating ma-encounter in the application of technology sa healthcare. Yung tinatawag nating industrial revolution, specifically the fourth industrial revolutions. Okay, so I know you know already this one. Okay, so if you're going to trace, no, nursing and the industrial revolutions, so medyo it encompasses history. So during the first industrial revolution, okay, in our history, in the history of the world, meron tayong tinatawag na first industrial revolution. At nung time na yon, okay, so may naimbento, no, nung time na yon. At iyan ang nag-start ng first industrial revolution. So, are you aware of that? Anyone? Ano kayang naimbento ng first industrial revolution? Okay. Anong naimbento? Anyone? That defines the first industrial revolution. Guys.
Incubator. Charot.
Incubator. In generic sense. In generic.
Signal.
Mechanization. So, mechanization. So, nakita mo kang cell site, ano? Okay, kaya signal. So, when we say mechanization, during the first industrial revolution, diyan na-imbento ang steam engine. Steam engine. You know steam engine? Yung kapag nanonood tayo ng mga lumang pelikula, di ba? So ito yung nagpapatakbo ng mga tren. You know Harry Potter? Di ba by steam siya? Napanood nyo yung Titanic? Guys, napanood nyo yung Titanic?
Yes po.
Sir.
Napanood nyo yung Titanic, di ba? Yung makina ng Titanic. So usually nagbaburn sila ng coal sa ilalim. Di ba? At yung coal na yon, yung burning process, nagpo-produce siya ng steam. At yung steam, yun yung power. Okay? Kaya nagkaroon tayong tinatawag nating mechanization. Because of steam, na-empower ang transportation, na-empower din ang production. No? So, yun. Dun sa tinatawag nating First Industrial Revolution. Okay. Napanood yung Titanic, ha? Nakita nyo yun, ha? Guys.
Yes po, sir.
Nakita nyo yun, ha? Okay, sige. Buti naman, kasi feel ko matanda na ako. Okay, so yun. So, first industrial revolution, na-imbento ang, of course, ang steam engine. At napabilis ang transportation. Dati, kalesa lang ginagamit, karwahe lang ginagamit, okay? So pero because of steam engine mas napabilis. Pati sa mga ano no, sa production sa industry, okay? Napabilis din 'to sa paggamit ng maraming ways on how we can mechanize. So for example, ito yung alam niyo yung mga windmill, yung nasa picture ng ano ng gatas, di ba? Sa mga windmill. So usually yung ano, yung water turbines, no? So yun, so mechanization. Okay, second, industrial revolution. Okay, ano ang definite or pinaka-distinct na na-invent during the second industrial revolution na masasabi nating very groundbreaking talaga, and it defines the second industrial revolution?
Electricity.
Electricity po.
Very good. So, naimbento na ang electricity. And because of the electricity, okay, so nagka-liwanag ang buhay. Okay. So, when you say liwanag ang buhay, so dito na-invento ang bulb. Okay, at ang bulb na yan, yung ginagamit, of course, to lighten up cities. Yung bulb na yan ang naging, of course, foundation ng mga earliest computer. So, in your course units, so nandun yung history ng computers, right? So, Charles Babbage machine, the punch cards, etc. So, dito nagsimula yung tinatawag nating, of course, paggamit ng electricity at pag-develop ng some of the gadgets na ginagamit natin ngayon. Pero tingnan nyo naman ngayon, super high-tech na tayo. Dati, ang mga bulb, ang lalaki, tapos mabasag lang siya, sira na. Pero ngayon, meron tayong CFLs, meron na rin tayong different LED, TVs, di ba? Okay, so talagang we gone far na in terms of ano na, from the start na naimbento ang bulb and electricity to the time that we do have now several devices that are powered by electricity. Guys, what is LED? What is LED, guys? LED TV. What is LED? What is LED? Guys, do you know what's the meaning of LED? LED?
LED emitting.
Light emitting.
Light emitting diode.
Diode. Okay, yan. So, syempre na-google na. Tama ba? Okay. So, pag sinabi nating LED, it refers to light emitting diode. Okay? Light emitting diode. So, ito yung isa sa mga technologies na na-invento, no? Okay. And of course, the third industrial revolution has something to do with the invention of
Computers.
computer. So, diyan na yung na-invento yung mga computer. At hanggang ngayon, guys, hanggang ngayon tayo ay nasa third industrial revolution. Papasok pa lang tayo dun sa fourth industrial revolution. Pero as of now, we are still on the third industrial revolution or the use of computers dito sa different industries. Okay, we are now gradually entering what you call the fourth industrial revolution or the 4IR. The fourth industrial revolution, or in abbreviated terms, ang tawag natin doon ay, pakibasa yung nakalagay doon sa Zoom chat. Fire. Okay. What is fire? Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay. So, ang most distinguishing characteristic ng Fourth Industrial Revolution is yung tinatawag nating cyber-physical system. So, when we say cyber-physical system, okay, so para mas madali nating intindihin, we can manipulate something without physically being there. Okay? We can manipulate something even if you're not physically there. For example, nasa Fatima office ako. Nasa Fatima ako in Valenzuela. Can I print? Can I, for example, manipulate my printer at home? Yes, I can do that. Okay, I can do that. Kasi dun sa Fourth Industrial Revolution, marami tayong mga konsepto na pumapasok dyan. Dun sa tinatawag nating cyber-physical system. And if you're going to visit this particular website, no? So later nyo na lang i-visit yung intelligence.vforum.org. So dito natin makikita lahat ng konsepto na gradually ginagamit na natin ngayon na may kinalaman or nakalink sa Fourth Industrial Revolution. For example, as you can see here, yung 3D printing. Yung 3D printing is part of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And as you can see now, most of our most of our industries are gumagamit na rin ng mga 3D printers. For example, nitong nagka-COVID, 'di ba? Nagkulang yung mga masks and the face shields. So, yung mga 3D printers ginamit siya para mag-print ng mga frame for the yung for the face shields. Okay. So another concept that I want you to remember when we talk about fourth industrial revolution in nursing is yung tinatawag nating technological singularity. Okay? Can you please repeat that?
Technological
Singularity.
So technological singularity is a concept or a hypothesis that states that there will come a time, no, darating yung panahon wherein yung capability ng computer will overcome the capability of the human brain. So meaning, if we're going to compare yung calculation ability ng mga computer sa calculation ability ng tao, so darating daw yung panahon, okay, there will come a time that the abilities of computer will surpass the abilities of the human brain. At ang tawag natin doon ay technological singularity. So for example, a very simple example, if you are using your cell phone, for example, your calculator to compute 6-digit numbers, you're going to multiply 6-digit numbers with the 6-digit numbers pa. Okay? So, sino mas mabilis? Kayo o yung computer? Of course, yung computer. Okay? So, that is part of what you call the technological singularity. What else? In the fourth industrial revolution, dito rin pumapasok yung tinatawag nating AI. And what is AI? Artificial intelligence. Okay, so for example, in other countries, especially in the United States, nakagawa sila ng artificial intelligence that can detect the health condition of a person by merely scanning the retina of the patient, or what you call the retinal scan. And kinompare ang pinakamagagaling na ophthalmologists, no, or those that are experts in terms of the sight, the sense of sight, kinompare ang capacity nung artificial intelligence machine, okay, with that of the very best doctors around the world. And based from the study, comparable yung result. So when you say comparable, parang wala namang pinagkaiba, no? So yon. So ang tawag natin doon ay doon sa technology na yon ay DeepMind. So ito yung isa sa mga projects ni Google, okay? Na may kinalaman din of course doon sa artificial intelligence. Okay, another thing. Pag sinabing fourth industrial revolution, ano again yon? So you have your cyber physical system, you have your technological singularity, you have your artificial intelligence, at sa fourth industrial revolution, dyan din pumapasok yung nakikita nyo sa screen ngayon. So you have your augmented reality and virtual reality. So dyan din pumapasok yung tinatawag nating self-driven cars. Okay? So dyan din pumapasok yung augmented reality. Okay? And next meeting, I'm going to show you some examples ng augmented reality and virtual reality. Okay? At yung, of course, artificial intelligence, data mining, big data, and Internet of Things. Okay. So another example would be sa fourth industrial revolution is our increasing inclinations to use technology in everything we do. Okay, so for example, ngayon na nag-uusap tayo, anong gamit natin? Technology. Mamaya pagkatapos, magre-relax kayo. Okay, so maglalagay kayo ng headset. Okay, so anong gamit nyo? Technology. At ang tawag natin, dun sa mga tao na gumagamit ng technology or there's some sort of device that is attached to them as human beings, ang tawag natin doon ay technium. For example, ikaw, naka-AirPods ka. Okay, may naka-attach ba na computer sa body mo? Yes, you are a technium. So for example, ikaw, naka-watch ka. Okay? So you are a technium because there's some sort of technology or device that is attached to your body. Okay, and this was actually introduced also in the novel of Dan Brown, which is entitled The Origin. That's a very good book. If you're very much fond of technology sa nursing, yung Dan Brown's Origin, isa to sa mga mag-e-enjoy talaga kayo. Another thing, sabi natin kanina, cyber-physical system. You can manipulate or create an impact everywhere without physically being there. A good example is yung tinatawag nating Animoji. Okay? So for example, humans are now being represented by unicorns, by poop, no? By cats, etc. So yon. So Animoji. So these are what you call virtual representations. So dati pag mag-greet ka sa ano mo, sa kaibigan mo ng happy birthday, so anong ginagawa nyo? So pupunta kayo sa bahay nila, gigreet mo siya, okay? Pero ngayon, so you can use your video, you can use representation such as what we call the emojis. So ang tawag natin dyan ay virtual representations. Okay, just similar to the movie Avatar. So although you are not physically there, you are actually manipulating something. Okay? Di ba? Kung napanood nyo, nahandong ka lang sa isang, nakahiga ka lang doon sa isang machine, pero in other worlds, you are being represented by something. Okay. And I think the one that I introduced to you before is yung tinatawag nating artificial intelligence na ngayon ay ginagamit na natin sa mga bahay para of course i-manipulate natin ang aircon, ang door, okay, yung mga saksakan at yung mga ilaw. Okay. So, yung paggamit ng artificial intelligence is now being also implemented in hospitals such as the one that I'm going to show you. Okay. So, paano ba ginagamit ang artificial intelligence? So, for example, si Alexa, one of the earliest artificial intelligence that can be utilized at homes sa healthcare. Let us all watch this. Okay, so for next meeting, I'm going to introduce to you some of the technologies naman na related sa 4th Industrial Revolution that we are using at Our Lady of Fatima University, as well as some of the topics in research that you can, of course, grasp as far as your nursing research is concerned, which is related to nursing informatics. Okay? So with that, and we're going to end our discussion now. I'm going to activate the quiz immediately after this.